The soft hum of chatter filled the upscale cafe, its golden lights casting warm reflections on polished marble. In a quiet corner, a young girl sat alone, her tiny fingers searching the table for a Braille menu that wasn't there. Her sunglasses obscured her sightless eyes, but her voice trembled as she whispered over and over, "Mommy, please come back soon." Behind the counter, Jade Martin wiped down glasses, her gaze drifting toward the girl. At 26, she'd learned to spot loneliness in seconds. Something about this child unsettled her, the way her chin lifted with practiced elegance, even as her hands trembled in fear. Jade nudged the cafe manager. "Is anyone helping table 12? Without looking up from his phone, Kevin muttered, "Leave it. That's Bennett's daughter. No one serves her unless Victoria says so." Victoria Bennett. The name was legend. CEO of a billion-dollar tech empire. Ruthless, controlled, obsessive, and right now she was 20 minutes late. "She's scared," Jade said firmly. "You're on probation, Jade. Don't push your luck," Kevin snapped. At that moment, the girl knocked over a vase. Water spread across the table, soaking her dress. Napkins fluttered to the floor. She sat frozen, lips trembling. Jade didn't wait for permission. She walked straight over. "Hey there," she said softly, kneeling beside the girl. "I'm Jade. Let me help you." The girl stiffened. "Where's my mom? She's not back yet. Mind if I clean this up and maybe bring you something while you wait?" A pause, then a timid voice. "I'm Emma. I made a mess. Mom's going to be angry." Jade smiled. "It's nothing we can't fix." She wiped up the spill. "See? Good as new." Emma tilted her head. "You're lying. Grown-ups always do when they think I can't tell." Jade chuckled, caught off guard by her honesty. "Okay, maybe a little water's still on the seat. Want something to eat while we wait for your mom?" Emma hesitated. She said no food without her. And when did she leave? 3. "I heard the clock." Jade checked hers. "Nearly 5. How about I bring you a secret cup of hot chocolate? I won't tell if you don't." Emma nodded, smiling for the first time. Jade returned with cocoa, a grilled cheese, and a few cookies. She placed each item carefully, guiding Emma's hands with gentle directions. "You describe things differently," Emma noted. "Like you're painting pictures with words." "My brother's blind too," Jade said. "So I've had practice." They talked. Emma lit up, talking about her favorite books, her love for piano. Jade found herself laughing along, forgetting the elegant customers watching her with disapproval. What she didn't notice was the black car parked outside, or the woman watching from behind tinted glass. Victoria Bennett stepped out moments later, striding into the cafe with a cold fire in her eyes. Kevin scrambled to greet her, stammering apologies. She brushed past him. "You're Jade Martin?" she asked quietly, stopping at the table. Jade stood, instantly wary. "Yes." "I see you've taken it upon yourself to feed my daughter." "Emma was hungry. I didn't think you'd mind." "I see. Mom," Emma beamed. "She taught me how to smell the difference between drinks." Victoria's expression didn't shift. "How much do I owe for the meal?" "Nothing. It was my treat." Victoria gave a curt nod. "Come, Emma." As they left, Emma clutched her mother's hand. "Can we come back tomorrow? I want to learn about cappuccinos." Jade exhaled, already bracing for Kevin's wrath. "In my office," he barked. "Now." She knew it was over. What she didn't know was that Victoria Bennett, once inside her car, sent a quiet message. Find everything on Jade Martin. Every detail. By tomorrow. That night, in her dim apartment, Jade stared at her termination letter. Her eviction notice lay beside it. Her phone rang. Her brother, Eli. "You did the right thing," he said gently. "I lost my job for helping a kid. Maybe it'll lead somewhere better." A buzz at the intercom interrupted. A woman's voice announced herself. "Margaret Chen, Legal associate for Mrs. Bennett. She requests a meeting at 9 a.m. The next morning, Jade entered the glass tower that housed Bennett Technologies. Every step in her thrift store heels felt louder than the last. On the 45th floor, Victoria stood with her back to the city skyline. "You served my daughter against instructions," she said. She was alone and afraid. Victoria turned. "Do you know why I left her there?" Jade blinked. "No." To see who would care. Jade froze. 17 people ignored her. Only you didn't. You used your own child as bait? She was in no danger. A folder slid across the table. Inside, compensation. A ridiculous sum. Jade didn't touch it. "I'm not for sale." Victoria studied her. "Everyone is." "Not me." Another folder. This one offered a full-time position, personal companion to Emma. The pay was astronomical. "Why me?" "Emma doesn't like most people. She liked you." Jade stared at the offer. "This is still manipulation. It's opportunity. Your brother, Eli, he's talented. I've arranged an audition at Wellington Academy." Jade's breath caught. "That's blackmail." "No, it's leverage. Use it if you want." That evening, Eli called her from the piano room at the academy, stunned by its beauty. As he played, Jade made her choice. She stepped into the Bennett world, but she came armed. For 3 months, Jade watched and listened. Emma flourished. Her wit, her spark, her music, all blossomed. But Victoria remained a wall of control. Then one day, Jade found a box hidden in Emma's closet. Inside, a flash drive and a diary. "It's Mom's," Emma said. "Uncle Trevor helped me hide it." The files shocked Jade. Photos, medical files, sealed court records, reports of a crash 5 years ago. Victoria at the wheel, a cover-up. A doctor's note suggesting treatment might help restore vision, but never pursued. The next day, Victoria claimed she and Emma had a charity meeting. Jade checked. No such event existed. She slipped a tracker into Emma's bag. 3 hours later, the dot pinged at a remote clinic. "Jade called Trevor. She's running more tests," he explained. "She wants confirmation Emma can't be helped. She's sabotaging her own child's chances?" Out of guilt and control. They drove to the clinic. Through a window, they saw Emma waiting, confused. Victoria argued with a doctor. "She does this twice a year," Trevor said. "Ensures the answer is still no." Jade had had enough. Inside, they confronted Victoria. "I have everything," Trevor said, holding a folder. Victoria faltered. "I didn't want to lose her." "You already have," Jade said. Emma, hearing the voices, stepped out. "I always knew," she said. "I heard you cry, Mom, but you never let me try to see again." Victoria fell silent, tears tracing her face. The doctor approached. "Miss Emma, the new treatment has promise. But your mother—" "I want to try," Emma interrupted. "With Jade." Victoria looked at her daughter. For once, she didn't argue. 6 months later, the Bennett garden bloomed in autumn. Emma stood under a tree, her dark glasses turned upward. "I can see the branches," she whispered. "They're orange and gold." She couldn't see perfectly, but she could see enough. And for Emma, that was everything. Victoria stood silently on the porch, a cup of tea warming her hands as she watched Clara tracing the outline of a tree with her fingers, her laughter mingling with Daniel's piano notes floating from the open window. Her empire still stood, tall, her reputation intact, her business thriving, but deep inside, something fundamental had shifted. The fall hadn't come through scandal or bankruptcy. It had come quietly, privately, in the aching realization of the years lost to guilt and fear. Trevor sat beside her, the silence between them familiar, but no longer heavy. "Watching her heal means accepting the part you played," he said gently. "And the parts I ignored," Victoria admitted. The old icy edge in her voice had melted. I wasted 5 years waiting for the pain to fade. It never did. But it changed you, Trevor replied. That's what matters. Across town, at Bennett Technologies, the once relentless schedule of its CEO had changed dramatically. Victoria now left work by 5, never missing a single therapy session. The Foundation for Visually Impaired Children, once little more than a PR stunt, had become a mission. Real funding, real research, real lives changed. Jade saw these shifts, but not without caution. Trusting Victoria wasn't something that came easily, not after everything. Still, actions had begun to match words. Jade remained in Clara's life, now not just as her companion, but as program coordinator for the Foundation. It wasn't glamorous work, but it was purpose-driven, and Daniel, sweet, resilient Daniel, had found his place at Wellington Academy, the prodigy in him finally unleashed. One afternoon, Victoria and Jade stood side by side, watching the two, children playing a duet on the grand piano. "Did you believe this would happen?" Victoria asked suddenly, eyes fixed on Clara. "That she could heal? That I could?" Jade was quiet for a moment. "I knew Clara deserved better. I didn't know if you were ready to give her that, but I hoped." Victoria nodded slowly, the smallest smile tugging at her lips. "What terrifies me most is not the idea that she might never forgive me. It's realizing how much energy I spent controlling everything, while forgetting I couldn't even control myself." That night, Victoria called Jade into her office. Papers were neatly arranged on the desk, along with a leather folder. "I want you to run the Foundation," she said without hesitation. "Not as an employee, as a partner." Jade blinked. "A partner?" 40% ownership, full creative freedom, a budget big enough to fund what truly matters. Victoria sat back, her hands clasped. "You've proven something I never believed before, that compassion can't be bought, and that leadership means more than control." Suspicion still lingered in Jade's heart. Why now? Why me? "Because you saw my daughter when all I saw was damage," Victoria said, meeting her eyes. "You saw what I couldn't, and the Foundation needs that vision." There was no catch in the paperwork, no legal traps, just genuine intent. Victoria wasn't trying to buy Jade anymore. She was trying to rebuild what she had once shattered. Clara's birthday came with unexpected guests. No dignitaries or media coverage, just children from the Foundation and their families. The mansion, once cold and untouchable, buzzed with laughter and chatter. Clara stood proudly near her sculpture display, her hands covered in clay, guiding people through each piece. "You don't need eyes to create beauty," she told them. Trevor leaned in toward Jade. "Regrets?" She smiled, watching Victoria kneel to explain tactile art to a curious little girl. Not one. A boy, maybe 6, looked up at Victoria. "Are you blind too?" Victoria smiled and crouched down. "Not exactly. But I used to be in a way. My daughter and a friend helped me see again." Later, when the crowd had thinned and Clara was unwrapping gifts, she handed Victoria a textured painting, layers of fabric and streaks of color that only Clara could fully interpret. "It's for you," she said, "so you never forget that even when we lose something, we can still find meaning." Victoria stared at the painting, her throat tight. In those rough textures and smudges of color, she saw every step of her transformation. The loss, the guilt, the slow path back. From the outside, the Bennett legacy remained untouched. But its foundation had changed completely. It no longer rested on ambition and fear, but on truth, acceptance, and a deep, unshakable sense of purpose. Jade had never needed power or wealth to make a difference. All she had ever needed was the courage to stay honest in a world built on illusion. And now, from within the very walls that once represented control, she was leading a movement based on something far more powerful: compassion. Because sometimes, All it takes to change everything is one person who refuses to look away.